Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Weber State Esports. We're glad to have you joining us for some exciting Rocket League games here at the NECC.
Yes, we are once again back for just fun times all around. I'm very much looking forward to it. And we got, let's call it an interesting matchup coming in here to start things off today with the Bushnell Beacons fighting against Weber State today.
Yeah, very excited to play against them. Worth mentioning, at least, not in a cruel way or anything, but the current scorelines of both these teams, of course, if you haven't been keeping up with us, Weber State is currently 5-0 in the regular season this semester, doing very well as the Rocket League team. And the enemy team, unfortunately, for the Bushnell Beacons is currently 0-5, but hey, you never know, they could always turn it around, right? Every game matters, so.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure I've seen Weber in this exact position beforehand, where they had a bad season and then it's just like, now's the time. Now's the game where you got to pick up the slack. And so, it's definitely a favored fight today for Weber. But we're gonna see where things go. So, as you can see, we are getting close here to loading up the match. We're just waiting for all the players to connect and join in, and then we're gonna be able to kick things off and see how things play out for our teams today.
I mean, I don't mind a small delay here and there, especially when we get to have such a cinematic background to look at. This angle is absolutely gorgeous. Shout out Rocket League. Fun game and very impressive visuals.
Yeah, visuals. It definitely goes under the radar for, what the game is like. You get so focused on the ball and being able to track in, oh yeah, rocket cars, cool flips and jumps. It's still a very nice looking game, especially holding up, years later.
Oh yeah. I'm just blown away by it a lot of the time. I mean, you see all the cool car decals as well, right? Not just the background and the incredible glow on this Rocket League statue in the background, but the amount of detail put in by both players and developers to make sure that every car looks unique and exciting and has a fun, unique flair. It's very well made. I'm always happy to see it. Looks like there's unfortunately a continual delay here as the maybe we can critique the only part of the background that's a little suspicious. The circle people. I mean, I love them. They're funny, but they are just circles.
I mean, hey, you barely need any more. I could go into a whole conversation talk all day about how little you need to get people to recognize a person, but I think circle people, I'm all for it. I think it works.
They're pretty fun, yeah. All right. Well, I'm excited for the match in general. I think we could end up going a couple different ways, but I think we're going to head to a short pause here for a second, go back to the pause screen, the loading screen, and talk a little bit about some expectations for just the semester as a whole. Weber doing quite well means that they should end up going to an exciting playoffs eventually.
Yes, and, our Rocket League team has managed to make it towards the finales of Rocket League multiple seasons here. And so that's what we're hoping for. We're hoping we can see that consistency going on and keep going. And, if we can keep that up, obviously, great news for Weber. We're looking for the grand finale once again. And this is just another step to bring Weber all the higher up in that play. But now we are starting off here with Weber State versus Bushnell Beacons. And unfortunately, game crash. So I think we see a little bit of why things were taking a little bit longer just to start off here. And we were having a great kickoff, but now things are happening in here. And looks like CRF is reconnecting.
All right. Hopefully jumping back in here pretty soon. Unfortunate camera angle to look at now as we were highlighting all the good-looking game moments and had a little bit of a weird angle. But it looks like potentially getting back in here soon. There is the resume, and with the timer ticking down, we've got our games beginning. Currently, both teams going forward. It looks like the names look to be a little bit off here. We'll see if we can fix that. And there it is. Simply Ninja going to pick up the ball here and push it forward with a good amount of boost. Can maybe go for a play, but right now, really in the first couple seconds of a game, and absolutely no one going for a flip reset and a play. Nice block.
So the big things that we're going to be looking out for here is how the play styles are going to be setting out and adapting. Because since this is a favored matchup, we should hopefully be seeing from Weber their favored play style. We're going to see aggressive, a lot of aerial maneuver, and sort of these very long aerial plays trying to set up these shots coming in here, and hopefully like a 1-2 punch to finish things off. Absolutely no one just absolutely on the ball in every sense of the word, just not leaving it for a moment.
Yeah, for those of you that have caught recent games of Weebers, you know absolutely no one has been stepping up quite heavily. A lot of insanely clutch goals, intense moments, and close games. I'm hoping to see some more of that, as you mentioned, seeing Weber really tap into their inner strength and showcase why they are currently undefeated. But I think Bushnell Beacon's not looking to be slackers alone. You can see going on the aggression right now, trying to pick up a lot of boost and deny Weber many of their plays. But Rivers, with a good denial of momentum himself, should be able to find a good position for Weber.
I think an interesting thing I'm seeing out of Bushnell so far is really their team play style. I'm seeing just a lot of like one tap kind of on the ball. Like you see all three members swarming around the ball, going one tap, one tap, one tap, all between them. And so it's just very quick passes. We're not seeing like very strong control coming in from any one member of Bushnell, but it's the team that's swarming onto the ball. But we get the first goal coming in here from Rivers as just a little bit of control was lost here from Bushnell, and just one tap coming in there. We could see the block coming in there, but just goes a little bit too late to be able to hit the ball.
With a fun 3-2-1 left on the timer, and here we go. Jumping right back into the game, I like the highlight, especially from that you said on the play style of Bushnell so far. It means that they don't have to commit a whole lot, right? If they're passing back and forth in these quick plays, they don't have to use full amount of their boost and can slowly choke Weber out. So far, it hasn't been working out for them super well, but they did manage to stall out the first point up until about the 3-minute mark, which is saying something, and they're going to go for a goal attempt here of their own. Zarma going for a decent pass upwards, but absolutely no one will push it away. Looks like Simply Ninja might be able to find an angle, but instead Rivers, doing a little bit of air dribbling there, will be denied, and instead the ball goes into the hands, actually back of the Simply Ninja.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is also translating really interesting into Weber themselves, because it's not really setting up for huge team plays for Weber. What we're seeing is one of Weber's members staying on the ball for a very long time in response to this team formation that we got from Bushnell, which means we're seeing very different play styles from both teams, almost exact opposites of each other.
Yeah, it's almost like, in a way, in a lot of these plays, it feels like individual 1v1s that keep being swapped out who is in that 1v1. As Rivers finds a goal for Weber, is I believe his second so far.
Yeah, so that's coming in from CRF. So the first goal coming in from Rivers, CRF tapping in the second goal, a good pass coming in from Rivers off the wall. And yeah, so might be a little bit of a worrying story, because if we're seeing these team formations come in here, and meanwhile it's just one member of Weber on the ball at any given moment, and all three members of Bushnell trying to stop it, that just means that the other two members of Weber are getting all the time in the world to just build up boost, set up position, and pick up the ball as soon as it drops. And so what we're seeing is, really right now, Bushnell is just playing damage control and nothing more is coming out of it.
Unfortunately, there's only so much you can do to stop the bleeding when there's this much of it. Weber really keeping up this constant aggression. It's cool to see something else to highlight as well with this play style of Weber. Because their other members are free, oftentimes whenever a play does go poorly for them, one of their members is often in the goal line, able to play defense, where the Bushnell Beacons do tend to commit all three members, and if they lose control of the ball, sometimes find themselves in a terrible position. That being said, they find a quick goal there at the start of this point.
Yeah, I think Weber just feeling a little bit too comfortable after those first three goals. We could see none of them heading towards the goal to keep it in check. And unfortunately, Rivers not being able to zoom faster than any other car on the pitch means that a goal does go over to the side of Bushnell.
And after I was just highlighting Weber's defensive play, come on guys, don't do this to me. I mean, they're doing perfectly fine, right? With a minute and 30 left on the clock and a current score of 3-1, I think they're feeling very confident enough to go for the more greedy plays, drop a point or two, and still feel like they can close out this game. Rivers going for a higher up play, but Saigo going for a very fast hit on the ball downwards.
I mean, honestly, that might just be, let's call it a method, a recipe for success right now. Because if we're seeing really good control of the ball coming in from Weber and, just all these opportunities and very long plays, I hope we can see Bushnell, if they're sticking with this strategy, they got to get these surgical hits coming in and use momentum against Weber. Get just the right hit onto the ball to knock it out of Weber's play and all the way against Weber and force Weber to suddenly respond to a major threat.
Yep, snap turns, that's what they're looking for. And currently looks like they might have a position to do so. Zarma hitting the ball up a little too high, but still, overall, Bushnell in a great position. But with Simply Ninja missing the ball there, I think they're going to drop all play that they had there. Rivers just tapping it upwards, hoping to pass it to absolutely no one, who picks up full boost. Going to look for a bit of a janky pass. Again, Weber knows with 30 seconds left, they don't really need to find a goal on their own. They can just stall out and make sure the ball doesn't go anywhere, as evident by these tiny taps from absolutely no one in the corner.
Yeah, I mean, Tygo going in very aggressively, using all their boosts just to run the ball up into the corner. But now we see that Weber looking very healthy right here. A whole lot of boosts, a formation coming in here and into the midfield. CRF jumping up to block the ball, but with the timer running out, that is going to be game one, going over to Weber State.
A pretty clean first game, dropping one goal in the middle due to a lack of defensive play. But overall, yeah, an absolutely dominant game from them, which was to be somewhat expected. Weber, again, as mentioned before, undefeated up against Bushnell, who haven't quite taken a series yet. It's worth mentioning, of course, that we don't know how those series went, though. You know, a scoreline of 0-5 doesn't necessarily betray a team's skill. Those series, could all have gone to 7 games.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen some fierce competitors within this series so far, at least in, comparison to Weber State, and it has not been smooth sailing for Weber so far. It has been a hard-fought battle to keep this 5-0 scoreline, which means hopefully there's just a little bit more coming in here, a little bit something yet to be seen. And as always, just because one game goes one way, that means absolutely nothing in a best of 7, because that leaves teams time to adapt and moments when they have to adapt.
Yeah, there's no resting on your laurels, especially not after just one game. We've seen many series, in fact, go not only be close, but go up 3-0 and then go to game 7, which that can be a little bit demoralizing. Sometimes momentum is a huge part in a lot of esports, especially Rocket League. So I think Weber wants to keep the momentum going, make sure they maintain the lead, and maybe show some more dominance.
Well, it looks like things are loading in here, and we're just about ready to start off on Game 2 of Weber State University versus Bushnell University, and we are off.
The kickoff goes slightly in the favor of Bushnell, actually, as it looked Weber favored, but Bushnell, a little slower, does actually end up paying off. It means that the ball kind of hovering in the middle of the air here. River's pushing it back, but Zarma should be able to get into a good position to push it away and deny a play. Doesn't actually have a lot of control over the ball, and the ball stalls for a little bit in the corner. Tygo will be the recipient of it, and Simply Ninja finds a position to push, but absolutely no one on defense won't actually find a great denial. The ball in an interesting position, a little bit precarious for Weber. Can Bushnell capitalize on it, or will they find it slipping through their fingers again?
We see Zarma knocking it up into the air, CRF to block, and caught by Rivers off the side wall, and now bringing it into the air once again. Tygo on the block, and it looks like we're being caught in no man's land at the moment, as a, sort of a long pass just going in here towards the goal, and a demo does come in, but I don't think it's going to make too much of a difference, as Rivers going once again on an aggressive play off into the airs, high speed, little control, and CRF knocking up once more. So both teams kind of just stalemating this match right now. We're not seeing too much of a play going. We're just seeing it going back and forward on both sides. Not a huge amount of coordination into one concerted effort to make a goal.
It almost feels like watching a volleyball game with how much the ball is going flying high into the air, only to gently fall down on the opposite side of the court and be knocked back away. We'll see if a point is scored in the next couple seconds or minutes here. Right now, CRF looking to hopefully change that, but again, the ball maintains flying through the air.
I mean, I just want to call this out here. Adaptation is what I like to see, and it is what I am seeing, because previously, while we were seeing a very tight, almost swarm-like formation coming in from Bushnell University, we are seeing them split up a lot more in this game. We're seeing at almost any given moment, all 3 members on all 3 sides of the pitch. And I think that is a beautiful adaptation. They're looking to be a lot more responsive to how Weber was playing the previous match, and they're looking to catch these moments before they become a problem, and then group up after they have control of the ball and are trying to be aggressive towards the goal.
Well, that adaptation has certainly turned this game into a little bit of a highlight reel of missed shots, insanely close goals coming out from both teams back to back, and right now it is Bushnell University's turn. Can the Beacons find the actual goal attempt that goes in? No, it looks like absolutely no one pushing it away, and maybe Weber will have their turn on the highlight reel of attempts.
I think what we're also seeing is that Weber, almost wary of having lost that one goal beforehand, are now incredibly defensive. There is always a member on the goal, always watching out, always responding to whatever shot is being made. And so that is why we're seeing such a tougher time into this play here. Weber State in control of the ball once again, bring it into the corner, and now we see Zarmer going to try and kick it over, but Rivers on a very good predictive catch, but looks like something just happened, and so we have a pause coming in here. A moment to breathe, as it looks like a member of Bushnell has lost connection to the match. It is not a good day for the connections today, but it just gives us a moment to look at what is happening today.
This has been a crazy game. I mean, the first game was fun, but a little more standard. This game has been chaotic. My heart has gone all the way up to my mouth and back down multiple times with the goal attempts here. You can kind of see that Taigo was lost in the enemy goal, which was an indicator that we were probably getting a pause here soon. Hopefully, we'll be able to resolve that soon. And if you've been a fan of us, especially more recently, you know that Weber's had some weird connection issues every time we go to stream. Just last week or so, Weber State had issues with the league servers as well, crashing almost worldwide for a couple of minutes. It was very bizarre.
Hey, what can you say? You know, if there's one thing about broadcast, it's that Murphy's Law holds true.
I wish it didn't, but it sure does. I mean, hey, we can talk about the play that's maybe currently happening as Taigo will be rejoining, might just rejoin in the center of the goal. I don't know if players reconnect exactly where they were. Oh, no, okay. It fully resets momentum. That's better for the sake of competitiveness. However, it does mean the entire momentum of the previous several minutes is gone.
I mean, it was still a pretty heavy stalemate as we were going, so I don't think it's going to be turning stuff too heavily. And now we see absolutely no one passing it over, and Taigo catching it on their side of the field. But Weber very aggressive onto the ball. Rivers going off the backboard, setting up, hopefully with a shot coming in from CRF.
Well, I think Weber's happy with the way that played out. They were able to get the ball back in the center, get a successful kickoff, and use a great rebound on the backboard. Multiple members of Weber coming in clutch on that goal. And it will score them the first and potentially only point in this game if this current momentum of back and forth keeps up.
I mean, just got to commend Rivers. Great air control right there and a great shot off the backboard, being able to set up the pass, and almost another immediate direct goal coming in off of that play. So now Weber into the lead is going to have to keep a good defense of the goal, or even more aggressive, get more goals of their own.
Yeah, so far, again, they can just cause chaos. I always mention it when the team is up, but I think it's a little bit too much time to feel comfortable doing that, especially with only this much of a point lead. And again, we almost saw Bushnell skull a gore. Whoa, I can't speak. My apologies.
Ooh. I mean, almost just, a trailing shot going in there, but does manage to go a little bit wide. And Rivers actually just picking up the goal as the ball is just kind of bouncing freely, no one taking control. CRF able to pass it just over Taigo and landing in that shot. Very well done. I mean, just CRF and Rivers doing great work today.
I would love to know what water they drank during the small pause we had in the middle of the game, because clearly it empowered them in the second half of this match. They are going absolutely crazy so far, looking to maybe score a third goal, despite the fact that they could rest a little bit, take a defensive play style. They're feeling the energy, feeling the momentum, and want to secure their lead even further. With 1 minute remaining, Weber's not letting their foot off the gas.
I mean, I called it out at the start of this game where play styles had adapted a little bit. Weber started this game by playing very conservatively, always having a member in goal, always trying to keep control of that. I think the moment the pause happened, Weber just started talking, and they were like, you know what? Let's just win this. Let's just get the goals, and that is going to be our defense.
I mean, as is the old saying, right? The best offense is a good defense. Sorry, the best defense is a good offense, and it's working here. 30 seconds remaining, 2 up. Can Bushnell even find a single goal to give them some hope of overtime? Maybe. I don't think they're going to. We were just playing insanely aggressive with pushing the ball back every time it goes through. That being said, Simply Ninja almost in a good position to find an angle. Zarma kind of hitting it back, unfortunately, in a weird position, but again, I think Bushnell themselves recognizing they do not have enough time to close out this game, and with the last couple seconds ticking away, 2 demos even won't be enough to give them 2 points. And that will be the second game of this series to Weber State.
So, what I am seeing off of this game here, it is putting Weber into a good lead, and unfortunately that's going to start placing the pressure onto Bushnell to, start catching up, start making some plays. And what I'm seeing is that Weber is going for a very overwhelming play style. It's not necessarily anything too fancy, not necessarily anything above what I believe this team can play against, but it is just a lot all at once. And so we need it to keep going and, hopefully Bushnell can sort of keep up with this pressure and start keeping things going. And if they can adapt to that and just respond to Weber's offense, then hopefully they can start making some room to catch little plays and try and make something happen after that, force Weber onto the defense once again.
Yeah. I'd like to choose to believe that, of course, comebacks are always possible, and they've got 2 games Bushnell University has to find any angle back in. A single point in a slow game can be the difference maker in a series. So we'll see if Bushnell can find both that slow game and that single point. I think they'll need a bit more defensiveness to be able to find it. Weber, certainly, I think, like you said, realizing that aggression is working very well and they can go hyper offense. So Bushnell just needs to slow down and make sure nothing slips by them.
Yeah, I mean, if it's in the power of the players, like if they can sort of copy Weber's original playstyle of having just like this championship, like one player on the defense at any given moment and just rotate that through so that the other players can keep bringing themselves forward, that would be great. But of course, that's asking a lot for a team to adapt to if they're not already very strong at playing in that manner. But so far, we're seeing Tygo on a very good block right there, being able to stop that shot coming in and taking control right again away from Weber as the ball gets shot over to absolutely no one and bounces over, which means it is now a little bit of a stray ball here, anyone's control. But with the missed block on the catch there, that means that it's going to be up to Tygo once again. Is Tygo stepping up to be what their team needs at this moment?
I mean, I'd love to see it. They've got at least another 9 minutes in the series where they can step up and find anything. If they can just continue to play full defense, sometimes finding a single member of your team that can find their role, say, hey, let me handle defense, let me handle goals, let me handle demos potentially. That can take a lot of pressure off other players to find potential insanely heroic plays.
I mean, things are already looking much better in this game compared to the performance we were seeing in the previous one in the second half. And so now we're actually seeing some room for Bushnell to breathe, to start doing stuff. And it is looking so much more promising for them to start making something happen.
Tygo, once again, seems to be always the member of Bushnell on the ball every time we snap over to them. But for now, it looks like Zarm will actually have to be on the defense as Tygo goes to the side, picks up a boost, and still ends up with the pass. Absolutely, with a good push away means the Rivers and absolutely no one could find a team play here. It looks like multiple members of Weber looking to find something here. Rivers will actually be the one setting up a potential play from absolutely no one or CRF. Zarm going for a flip reset that they won't find, and CRF goes for the goal attempt, blocked away by Simply Ninja, and the ball is exchanging cars rapidly.
Yeah, and once again, we see Tygo on the ball trying to go for an aerial combat, but Rivers takes control. Not going to have the setup, though, which means Simply Ninja blocking it away, and CRF once again on the aggression. But Tygo, once again, when the team needs it, they have that final push to keep the ball in either a neutral state or in favor of their team. And so we see Zarma going to be picking this up once again. This is the defense I wanted to see from Bushnell, and it is working.
I can't help but picture Tygo as the solid rock that the beacons stand atop on the edge of the shore, sending out a light to the teammates saying, hey, we've got a window here. Let's keep up this even game. Let's keep up this slow pressure we're mounting, right? Weber has had the ball on their side of the court a lot more frequently than they have in previous plays. So maybe Tygo can find the goal attempt here, won't find the angle, and CRF is in a better position to block it. So the play won't amount to much, but again, it's another swing of momentum in the favor of the Beacons, setting up an insanely good side play. Tygo not quite able to hit it in. It was a little too fast of a play, but it's close, and they can always repeat it again.
We always think about Rocket League as this super fast-paced, high-tempo game, but at the end of the day, it is a one-point game that can make a difference. If it is just 1 point, that is everything for the team that gets it, and you can stall out the rest of the game as long as needed. We could have a 20-minute overtime and things would still be okay because it is just down to getting the 1 point difference, and that is all we need, and that is what I think we are going to see Bushnell playing for.
I mean, absolutely. You can see that Bushnell knows it. They're playing hyper-aggressive. Anytime they lose the ball, they often tend to go for a demo or an insane backup play to make sure the ball doesn't end up going too poorly for them, as Tygo will be denied a block there, but Simply Ninja's in a good position to follow it up. Once again, Tygo on the ball, continuing to keep the hopes of the Bushnell Beacons alive. And man, I really hope you didn't curse us into having a 20-minute overtime, but no, there it is, the 1 point difference that you mentioned.
And it is now starting to come together. unfortunately, this is going to be a momentum reset. That can change things. If Weber gets another quick goal, that just ties everything up, and we are back into the thick of it. But if we just see that defense continue from Bushnell, that means that they are in an excellent spot to claim a game and take it one step further towards that comeback victory.
They hold the power of this game in their hands. They get to decide how they want to play it. Full defense, be careful, but risk more goal attempts. Or full offense, try and pressure their lead to go even further and make sure Weber has no chance of finding any hope. With 45 seconds left, either play works. You've just got to find a way to prevent Weber from getting anything.
Yeah, but we are seeing just a little bit of awkward pacing coming in onto this second part of the match right here, but we're seeing Weber losing control of that high aggression they had on the ball. Absolutely no one going for a long shot, blocked by Zarma, and things are looking much more promising as we see CRF going to try and pick this up. Absolutely no one actually getting tap on the ball, bring it into the air. CRF on the setup and no one at the goal, which means it is 1-1.
Absolutely no one seeing the angle saying, hey, my name is correct. There's no one blocking the goal. I'll take a gentle push, and did some fancy air tricks there to make sure that they were undeterred.
Yeah, like, let's still call out. Bushnell was going to try and deflect the ball midair, but with two members going for it, no one still at the goal in case anything went wrong. And CRF was there to follow up if absolutely no one didn't get the shot. It was going to be a tough time for them to recover in that position. And very nearly, we almost saw this game go over to Weber with a shot coming in there. Rivers going for another one. Seconds left on the clock. And CRF does not get it. Overtime saving Bushnell in game 3 right here.
Boy, Weber did not want this game going to overtime. All three members got each a goal attempt that didn't end up going just barely through. Oh, that really got my heart rate up. And now we'll have to calm down a little bit, potentially. Overtimes do not really have a time limit. Of course, as you mentioned, we could go 20 minutes. I doubt it. I think these teams are starting to find their flow in this game. Both points scored in the last few minutes or so. Let's see if potentially Bushnell can actually be the one to find it, or if Weber, with a great sideways push there, will be able to deny any play and find one of their own, as Rivers, in a great position, will be able to do some of the aerial tricks that Weber is known for, to push it over the side, set it up for another member, and maybe find a goal.
I mean, you know, call me a sucker for a narrative, but I'm kind of rooting on the underdog story right here. Because as much as Weber did get the previous goal, like the most recent goal in this match, it was a little bit of a fluke. It wasn't quite lined up with how we've seen Bushnell playing so far. And so if we see that angle covered, if we see things not going that way anymore, I see a very strong potential for Bushnell to actually pick up the pace and keep going on their strong defense, but actually just dropping a little bit short of catching that. The fatigue might be setting in early in the series. Things might not actually be catching where they want to for Bushnell University, meaning that this might not actually be the way to play. They may not be able to play the long game, and they might actually be bleeding themselves out the longer this clock goes on.
Well, I hope not, for their sakes, and a little bit for ours. I'm glad you said it, because I'm feeling it too. The underdog stories are always fun. It's not like Weber isn't already securely in a playoffs, right? And here, a gentle fall down is... that was a surprising goal that will win Bushnell the game.
I mean, to carry on the narrative, we call that anticlimactic. That was just the gentlest of taps that went all the way to an open goal.
But hey, a nice shot, and it will get the momentum for the first time fully in Bushnell's favor. What a strange but fun game.
I mean, this is why I love Rocket League. There are so many unexpected things that can happen. And sure, right now Weber still up 1 game into the lead. There is 3 games that Bushnell needs to win to be able to take this series. But that is a point. That is a vote in favor of Bushnell University. And so they can still have, you know, that all that momentum from this game to just power through, carry on, and who knows? Maybe that steps Weber off their game. Maybe that's going to upset the balance. Or maybe this is where Weber does the mental reset and says, okay, let's pick this up. Let's bring it together. Let's bring it home.
Well, I'm rooting for Weber, of course, because we are Weber State Esport. We are always going to root for Weber. It is worth mentioning in a strange way that I imagine this series has almost no bearing on standings for playoffs or the regular season, which means this series is all about sending a message. If Bushnell Beacons want to prove themselves and say that they've still got it, which are, clearly they've already shown, right? That last game was good. They can take the series if they want. It could happen.
I mean, Yeah, it makes a difference. It makes a difference if you go into, the actual bracket on 0-6 or 5 or of 1-5. It's like that's a little bit of a promise, but it looks like we're having connection issues ourselves as we get knocked out of there. We're going to try and reconnect into the match here, and it looks like that is coming together very shortly right here. So hopefully we can get that brought back together. Who knows what's happening? Might be a problem with the game servers, but it looks like everyone has reconnected into the game, and we are ready to go for game 4 of Weber State University versus Bushnell University, the Bushnell Beacons, and we are off.
Well, I thought Murphy's Law would be a little scary there for a second, but we managed to get right back in just in time to see the amazing kickoff from Weber State so far. Really off to a strong start. Rivers managing to keep the momentum up here. Looks like they might actually be able to find a goal. He slips it by just barely the members of Bushnell.
I mean, wonderful play from Rivers. I mean, just stalling out the ball on the ground. Not even a spike, but just passing it down and getting the shot in there. Beautiful play. First goal coming in much faster than we've seen anywhere else in this series today.
Almost a bit of a pinch play from Rivers there. I think Bushnell wasn't quite ready for the angle to come in because of the use of the ground from Rivers to keep the ball's momentum low and fast. I like to see it, and hopefully we can see some more of things like that from Weber. It'd be a huge way to adapt again into a series, right? To readapt and say, hey, we've been playing in the air a lot, like absolutely no one is right now. So if you can find other ways to catch Bushnell off their expectations, it can result in goals like the previous one did.
I mean, I say great call out because the first thing I saw coming into these interactions of what was happening here, the first thing CRF did was spike the ball when it was going to be an aerial play. And so immediately taking it away from the members, I think if Weber's looking to try and play this on the ground as opposed to their favored aerial style, this might be an incredible series to watch because usually we've seen Weber, almost forced to respond on the ground. I want to see what they can do if they're taking it to the ground and want to play it there.
Yeah, so far the ball has maintained fairly low across the board, and it almost results... Oh, no, it will! Rivers come flying over a member of Bushnell to find the goal with the assist pass from absolutely no one across the board. Oh, no, actually, that was just Rivers as a whole.
I mean, Bushnell, I'm sorry. I was kind of rooting for you on the underdog story, but I am more invested right now in what's happening with Weber because this is completely different play style. As much as it is still aggressive, it's still good. The amount of this low altitude play that has just come straight down and is now basically just barely passing over people's head, bouncing off the wall, playing it back in. I love it.
It shows that Weber clearly has practiced more style than one, and it is paying off. A quick third goal. Weber is unhappy they lost that previous game, clearly.
I mean, and then Rivers just showing me up with just a great aerial pass into a goal hit.
I mean, as they say, you can gain a bunch of new tricks, but you never forget the old ones. You still gotta have it in you, and clearly Rivers not forgetting the aerial style just for the sake of finding new plays. Well, good kickoff that goes in the favor of Bushnell to start, though, and a demo as well could lead to a huge play.
But CRF now taking the ball to the air off the backboard, almost caught by absolutely no one, but Tygo able to zoom the ball away into the favor side of the court. And now we have Simply Ninja going to try and pass that up there, but no members on Bushnell to respond. We see a little bit of a high jump going in there, and absolutely no one going to block it off. Tygo not able to catch the ball, which means not going in Rivers' favor, as actually taken away, and now the ball is going to be stalemated once again.
Right now, all eyes on Bushnell to find a way back in, but for me especially, all eyes on Tygo as well for some more of the heroic plays he had in the previous games, right? We've seen that in tense moments, oftentimes it was Tygo that was always on the ball that gave Bushnell momentum and windows. Can Tygo find that again, or maybe potentially Bushnell as a whole becoming a well-oiled machine that could get them back into this game, but they've got a long road to go. Half of the game time is ticking away just now, and they still haven't scored a point.
Well, we are in an interesting situation right here because while Weber is going to continue with what is obviously working for them, we now have an ultimatum being pushed onto Bushnell University. It's that they either have to win 4 rounds minimum in this game with 2 minutes left on the clock, or they're going to have to try and play on match point 2 games down, which is not a fun position to be in. So what are they going to do? Like, how aggressive can they play this? Are they going to be able to put Weber off their footing? Are they going to be able to get these goals? Or is that just a bar that cannot be reached in the time that is left?
I mean, it's about 2 points for 25 seconds. Hey, it seems feasible, right? You just have to lock in, get down, use the boost well, and find your goal. Each one, the faster you can get it, the more pressure is relieved on you for the rest of the series.
You say use your boost well, but what boost? It is being stolen from Weber State, and we're seeing just scraps left on the side of Bushnell University. Thankfully, a couple of bits have been picked up here, and now things are starting to reset. But the amount of aggressive boost taking we have on Weber State, the moment that they're not on the ball, they're grabbing that boost. And the moment that we see Bushnell done defending, there's no boost left to get. It is a battle of resources at this point, and unfortunately, we are down to that 1 minute mark, which means that with the fourth goal being scored out of nowhere by Rivers, that is not going to be a fun time for Bushnell University coming up soon.
Yeah, just found a quick snap angle. Honestly, did not see that coming at all here. So a huge goal from Rivers. I think one of their many this game.
Yeah, I think that's like their third pure opportunity shot coming in.
Very impressive here. Zarma hoping to at least get a goal back, and they will get it, showing that, hey, we're not taking the game. At this point, it would be a miracle. Well, it's still possible, but it would be a miracle.
Yeah.
But let's at least kill momentum and show that, hey, we can still turn the series around even if we're under insane pressure.
But it was also, let's call it a light defense. We had all three members of Weaver coming in there, but, I'm pretty sure given any other context, Rivers would have been jumping full boost to try and catch that ball. They were just trying to catch it in case something went wrong. But, yeah, so it wasn't the most we have to stop this goal moment from Weber. It was just, the goal is kind of happening.
Yeah, it felt more like a fun desperation block as all three members just kind of jump at the ball without a plan. Again, it results in a goal for Bushnell, but should not result in anything else other than, again, potential hope, right? It's a window of opportunity and belief that this series is still doable. Currently, though, with 22 seconds left, and Weber having a little fun with the ball, it seems like, kind of just full sending it every opportunity they get, using absolutely all of their boost to just fly, hit the ball, hopefully, and then run back and do it again is...
Oh, a very nice shot, though, from Tycho, being able to flip it over the opponents and straight into the goal.
A little bit of a window into what Bushnell still has in them, right? I believe, potentially, folks. I don't know. Again, I keep going back and forth between being Weber biased, of course, love Weber, and also wanting to believe that an underdog story can still be really exciting, and this can be a potential statement series for Bushnell. Not in this game, though.
I mean, I can't speak for the teams here, but hold on! I was about to say, if there was anything to start getting motivation, I think those 2 goals would have done it. I think that third goal, this is suddenly maybe a thing. There's no way. There's no way they get this 4th goal and tie it into overtime.
They'd have to win the kickoff immediately.
Yeah, that's not happening. However, if there was a way to keep motivation in here, that would have been it. And yeah, so ball stalls out, falls onto the ground. I think if Bushnell is not feeling happy about that last goal, they've already said that they're not winning the series. If there is a chance, that just said to me, Bushnell, you have the motivation to do this. You can do this.
I thought for a moment that I had caster cursed it, saying that they would take a miracle to take it to overtime. They nearly found that miracle. So hey, oh boy, would I like to see something like that again. Again, good Rocket League, folks. Always down to watch it.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what the games are like. There is always something to leave us stunned here at the booth, and it is so much fun.
Unfortunately, we're going to have to take a little bit of a breather and reset our own momentum into this game, right? The hype end of that last game doesn't necessarily predict what's happening in this game immediately, considering Weber's off to a strong start.
Yeah, strong start and a very weak defense coming in to start things off, as we see almost a full offense committal. And I think that might just be a little bit of carryover from the previous match. They had to play full offense before, and now they're not quite sure how to play against Weber when Weber is no longer 3 goals up, which means they are probably playing a little bit more defensively. They're probably playing a little bit more strategically. But another goal coming in from Tygo. I mean, listen, if you play a best of 7 in Rocket League, what you're gonna get is 7 different games of Rocket League, 7 different playstyles. Nothing is ever the same.
All right, folks, that's it. Throw out your expectations. Throw out the score lines of the teams. Let's just watch some insanely good play as a Demolition comes out immediately, and Weber going for a goal attempt that will be barely missed and blocked with the help of Bushnell, Simply Ninja using their car very effectively. Zarma going for a decent push, but CRF hoping to go for a rebound goal. Won't find it, so it's up to absolutely no one instead to find it. Maybe to pass it over to CRF, who finds the gentle tap in. A fast game so far.
I mean, yeah, if Weber wants to lock this in, Bushnell wants to get goals. This is such a different pace to the very start of this match. Everything has changed, and just, I don't know what to say. I don't know if I'm happy. I don't know if I'm terrified. I don't know what's going to happen at the end of the day. But with Weber taking the lead, this might be a Weber victory.
It's definitely possible. I feel like this is the earliest we have called Weber victory, but understandably so, right? They are up 3-1 in the game scores and 2-1 in this current game. So all signs lead to Weber's victory. But again, all signs led to Weber's victory at the end of last game too, and it almost didn't happen. So if this is a game and a series of almosts, then I'm here for it.
And so we're going to see things slowing down just a little bit, but these slow plays are where the goals are kind of happening in this match, as things just kind of nudge themselves towards a goal, and then the goal happens afterwards. It is a very clear-cut scenario every time of where things are just kind of lining up, the final tap comes in, and it's interesting. I don't know how else to describe it. I'm at a lack of words for how these matches are going, but now as the ball just flails around in front of Bushnell's court, it is still not going to be taken, and so far Zarma is going to be picking it up and is now going back against the offense of Weber State, as we see absolutely no one trying to take another shot in here, but it goes into the corner, and Simply Ninja. Now we're kind of back into what I was expecting. Teams are playing defensively, and a rogue shot coming in as CRF manages to get another goal. It is not looking good for Bushnell.
We were doing a lot of boost denial again. You can see in that replay, absolutely no one is actively standing on top of the boost and jumping to make sure no one else can get it. And it's starting to affect these long-term plays. The longer Bushnell is denied these resources, the harder it is for them to regroup, loop back around, and get into defensive positions. Even if they're in the right side of the map, it doesn't necessarily matter if they're not fast enough.
And so we're going to see the offense coming in very strongly once again. Rivers stalling out and keeping the ball on the wrong side of the court for Bushnell. And now Tygo doesn't have the boost to try and contest this. CRF blocking it off. Absolutely no one coming from absolutely nowhere. What is this game?
Chaos incarnate, and I love every moment of it. CRF going for a tap upwards and gently falling down to Zarma. The ball will be pushed back, but still, ultimately, Bushnell mostly in control of it. Feels like the last couple minutes and the series as a whole has been a little bit a game of patience and then snap plays. There's a lot of slow, careful passing, preparation, and then immediate shots that could turn into goals, which this one is from across the map.
You know, here at Weber State Esports, we always like to try and applaud our team, applaud our players. We always like to highlight that this is, you know, this is maybe not the best of the best, but this is definitely a cut above the rest. This is players trying their absolute best to make things happen. This looks like a casual game of Rocket League. I'm not gonna lie. This is just all over the place.
Again, like I said, it reminds me of many games in the past in other esports that are ultimately statement games that have really no major bearing on standings, where both teams say, hey, let's show up and just go crazy. Let's practice some things, let's have fun, and let's show that we've got some craziness in us.
I mean, it was looking strong for the very start of the whole series, but man, this has just gone so many places, and at this point, I don't even think I speak the same language as what is happening here.
We will have left this casting different people in a way, having experienced a new life experience. I know my heart is pounding in a very fun way now, as we were going for a goal attempt. Absolutely no one won't find it, but CRF hoping to find the follow-up goal won't get either, and so we will have to back up a little bit. Something tells me they won't, though.
Yeah, so far we have actually a very good setup coming in there, blocked by Zarma. Zarma on the ball, keeping good control of it, and CRF almost accidentally getting a shot towards their own goal. Tygo able to pick it up right here, but now the offense being pushed further by Weber, and it's into the corner as we see Simply Ninja trying to bring it into the air, caught by Zarma, almost passed into a shot, but Tygo comes in as a savior, and with a great follow-up, that means it is 3-3 with a minute and 15 seconds left on the clock.
We've seen the game. The last time the game was here in this position, The winner was Bushnell. Their one game was in an even position where the clock ticked over and they managed to find a clutch goal in overtime. As a double demo by the same member, Tygo once again clutching up saying, oh, we're not out of this yet.
And we see a very good attempt trying to spike the ball down right there, but Rivers is still able to catch it, and a wide shot almost goes into the goal, a follow-up, a block, and this is insanity.
I don't know what to say anymore. Do I give analysis or do I just completely freak out over every single goal attempt?
I mean, at this point, I think analysis is out the window. This is not a game of how the teams are strategizing, playing against each other. This is literally just a free-for-all scramble onto the ball and going for a shot. And it's working? Question mark?
I say it's working. It's times like this that I like to remember. It's so easy to get caught up in the competitive atmosphere of esports and forget sometimes that we're watching people play a really cool game, and it's times like this that I just love that aspect of it. As Weber looks like they will find the slow, careful goal. The patience pays off. They find the window, and that could be game determinative.
Well, I'm going to take this moment to breathe. I might be proven wrong, but hopefully this means Weber is going to take this game in a 4-1 series, but 20 seconds left on the clock. Anything can happen. We see absolutely no one going to take the ball here. If Weber has any mind to themselves, they say stall out the ball. Just try and end this match before it goes wild, before something bad happens. 5 seconds are now left on the clock. CRF has control. They're going for a shot. There's not going to be enough time left on the clock unless a miracle takes place. The ball is in the air. Tygo knocks it up, and we see Simply Ninja almost able to catch it, but knocked away, and that is going to be the series for Weber State. Wow, what a match.
Unfortunately for Bushnell, much like the fourth game, a miracle is not found at the last moments. And boy, I just gotta say, thank you, Bushnell Beacons. That was a joy to watch.
I mean, we said at the very start, it was going to be an interesting matchup. Weber was definitely going to be favored going into this. But, I mean, I'd say Bushnell put up a fight. And honestly, if I had anyone I was rooting to see later on in the NECC here, I kind of want to see Bushnell. Like, give us that comeback story. I want to see the rematch.
Oh boy, would that be wonderful to see. I hope that it can happen. I don't know how much longer the regular season is. I think we're coming close to the end here. But I hope that we not only get to see Bushnell later, but maybe we could meet again eventually in this bracket. It would be wonderful.
Well, that is going to finish off everything we have for tonight. It was a great set of games, but we are going to be ending here. So we do have more stuff coming up on the horizon that you will be able to tune into.
Yes, we've got some League of Legends games this Thursday for NECC for our junior varsity teams. And we've got some very exciting matches this Saturday in the CLOL League of Legends, where our Weber State varsity team will be facing up against our pseudo-rivals with the University of California, Irvine.
Yes, for those of you that have been following us for a while, I mean, every time it's a match against them, we're looking for best of fives, and it has happened a lot. So, I mean, yeah, UCI, we're coming for you, and I'm hoping you're there to respond.
So stay tuned, folks, and have a wonderful evening.